Let's get it, y'all. We ain't gonna waste no time. Y'all hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. You already know what's going on. Finna check that video out. Hey, cool kid, man. Thanks for the video, bro. We gonna react to it with you. I ain't gonna do too much reaction. I just wanna watch. See what these people talking about. They say, the reason car guys don't deserve fast cars, 500 horsepower is slow. Y'all ever been in a car with 500 horsepower? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. 500 horsepower is slow. It definitely is, but you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
An event where you feel like you absolutely need to own a car with an obscene amount of horsepower. You might not even know what 300 horsepower feels like. You might not even own a car. You might not even have a license. But for some reason, at some point from age 16 to 20, you feel like a GT3 is slow because it has only 500 horsepower.
What? And I hate people that be saying that shit because it's not true. And even if you think it's slow, you're saying it's slow in a straight line. That shit is meant to be in the corners. Anyway, I digress.
And that you need an M5 CS tuned to 800 horsepower. And the craziest part about this is that the usual justification...
Wait, was that in the video? Nigga said, I had
an M5 CS tuned to 800 horsepower. And the craziest part about this is that the usual justification that you come up with for what kind of horsepower makes a car fast is that whatever number you just came up with in your head just sounds nice. Wait, what? Like, you mean the exhaust sounds better with more power? No, some of these kids seriously just think having 800 horsepower just sounds like a nice number of horsepower to have.
Well, duh. What the fuck? What's wrong with that? I'm just playing. My first car,
I'm saying though, if you ever been in a dang, bro. If you've been in a 1,000 horsepower car, you know the difference. It's a difference, y'all. Don't fool yourselves, bro. It's a difference, bro. It's a difference, bro. It's definitely a difference. 300 horses, bro. 500 horses. 800. 1,000. Okay. There is a difference, y'all. Come on, bro. It's a big difference. And it don't gotta be loud. For example, Lucid Sapphire, right? Air, which got 1,234. It don't really have no sound to it, do it? No. So it ain't gotta be loud. But yeah, if they racing, don't you think they want to have, you know, a substantial amount of horses so they can beat their competition that they're racing against? Don't you think? To ensure that they crush at least 1 million people that come before them and hold their title. That's part of racing, you know. When they do NASCAR, don't they, you know, right? We got the F1 cars out there, don't they make sure that the cars are, you know, you can't get out there with a 300 horsepower F1 car and think you're gonna beat the competition when they all got 5 and 800. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. So come on, man. Come on, y'all. Y'all gotta be more reasonable. The average person personally needs at least 400. Otherwise, as soon as you hit that gas, somebody gonna run into your car. You need enough power to get up out the way. I'm just saying. Just saying. That 300 gonna be. Man, I wish I would have got the car that had 400, 500. I would have been out the way. That's how you get in those type of predicaments, because your car ain't got enough power to push the car. But let's see. Let's get into this video, y'all. Let's see what's going on. Now, I don't think everybody should have it. No, only people that know how to drive, obviously.
Technically, my first car was a Lexus SC300. My dad had it and he gave it to me. But the first car I ever bought was a Nissan Maxima. I bought it at the auction for like $2,900, $2,700. Sold it for like $48. Bands, nigga, money, nigga. Sorry.
I swear that's an actual response I've heard from people my age and younger.
Hi guys, I'm Shmi and you're watching Instagram.
I've said this before and I'll say it 1,000 times again. 500 horsepower is more than enough for most
it's really
400 horsepower with the correct gearing will take you to 200 miles per hour. And 350 horsepower in a light car with a good suspension and a nice power to weight ratio.
That is not a 300 horsepower Miata. Come on now. Actually, it could be. Actually, nah, I'm doubting myself now. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I think that's a 300 horsepower Miata? There's no fucking way. I mean, it makes sense, power to weight, but smoking in a Aventador like that? I don't know, bro. I gotta see that shit.
You'll gap the life out of a 600 horsepower car that weighs 4,500 pounds. If you live in South Carolina and took an interest in state politics, you might remember my late uncle, Senator John Scott. The reason I bring this up is because he was well known in the community for liking cars. Unc was a bona fide car guy if I ever knew one. One of my earliest car-related memories was riding his C3 Vet as a toddler. It was a short memory with not much information beyond getting in.
Yo, I want to be one of them OGs that just had like cars that he built with his bare fucking hands, and as he was building them, he was eating a rack of ribs. I don't even like ribs, but I don't want to be one of those dudes that be like, motherfucker, like they say it mad hard. I want to be an old country nigga, even though I'm not from the country. I'm either gonna be an old ass Nigerian
above the dashboard. But every time I saw Uncle Lee, small talk turned into deep conversations about cars. We'd always get around to the subject of my Mustang. I was daily driving a Mustang GT at the time. And he'd always be like, man, what you gonna do with that Mustang? And I'd always say something along the lines of, man, I'd love to do a built 302 capable of 8,000 RPMs and hopefully make like 450 horsepower. Or I'd tell him about the latest German car to come out with more than 500 horsepower. And while he always daily drove a German car with whichever had the most reliable drivetrain, which was usually a Mercedes with a naturally aspirated V6, he was
how you say Mercedes? I'm the best guy.
A staunch classic American car guy. He'd scoff at the idea of a 400 plus horsepower Mustang, and he'd scoff even harder at the newest, fastest German super sedan. He'd be like, man, why all y'all young boys want to go so fast? I'm like, 400 horsepower isn't even fast. There are cars out there with 700 horsepower. Those aren't even the fastest cars out. Dudes are tuning GTRs and stuff to make 2,000 horsepower. He'd be like, I don't even know what the hell a GTR is. Wait, in a street car? Yeah. Unfortunately, he would never live to see the day that I would finally wrap my head around the idea that the average person cannot handle a car with that kind of power.
And that is a fucking fact. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. The average person can't handle it. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. The average person cannot handle it. But again, if you've been in that 400 to 500 horsepower car for about 10 years, it tends to get slow to you, right? Just like anything else. And then once you get that 700 horsepower car, you've been in the car 700 horsepower for about 5 to 10 years, it gets slow too. And then once you get to the next step, it's like you got to keep evolving and keep pushing up levels. The point is to push the limits. So if you get in that rocket ship, even in a plane, because of the G-force, if you've ever been in a car that's at least 300 horsepower, it's going to make you dizzy. It's going to give you a little bit of a headache. You could tell when people, they be like, whoa, when they're on the plane, they start going up because they never felt that before, or they don't feel that enough. Right? For someone to even attempt to take a rocket ship anywhere, you're going to have to get used to the G-force. You got to go through training to get used to that G-force. You got to go through training to get used to that. All right? For anybody to sign up for NASCAR, you got to get training to get used to that, bro. And that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, it's purposes for this stuff, for sure. There's definitely purposes for this stuff.
Y'all niggas can't drive. Not me though. Y'all be safe.
At full tilt. Or why someone would even want a slower car. As I got older though, I slowly started to understand. I remember in high school one day, I was geeking out over a 458, and one of my friends who wasn't even really into cars like that tried to tell me, why would you can spend that much money on a car when you could spend $60,000 on a Hellcat and get 700 horsepower? That's all you need. It's a better car for less money. Damn, a Hellcat was really $60,000 when I was a freshman in high school. That was actually a really good value back then. But to a guy like that who really isn't into cars, and I bet he likes Teslas now, it's hard to explain why Ferrari could at least subjectively be the better option, even when you get less power per dollar, especially when you hadn't driven one quite yet. But even then, I understand how a car sounds, how a car...
Damn you, dick rider. Who? Oh, because I said you can't drive? You mad?
handles, how a car looks, how the effort that went into designing the aerodynamics, how the build quality and the materials used in making the car could justify the price you pay for such an experience. Geraldo, if you're watching this, please tell me you at least understand this concept a little bit more now. Please.
Yeah, you paying for the aerodynamics and stuff like that so they can put less horsepower in it, of course. But the people that get Hellcats, they're not paying for aerodynamics. That's not the point. It's not even the point. You're not finna say, you're not gonna convince them, oh, you should get the Bugatti over the Hellcat. You're not convincing them in that nation, bro. That's not the point. That's not the point at all, bro. Obviously, it went over your head, dog. That's not the point to the Hellcat, man. That is not the point. Man, people who never been in the hood before, you can tell. That is not the point to the Hellcat, bro. Obviously. Like, come on, y'all.
Bro, because I ain't gonna lie, people be like, I smoke you in my built Civic, which I'm one of those guys too. I really do want to build Civic. I really do. But like, it's two different experiences. I want a Pagani Huayra BC because it's a fucking piece of art on the road. The Honda is just fast, and it probably would make me smile just as much. But I like both. Like, just let me live. Like,
right. But that's the whole point. That's the point right there. It's the fact that people get to choose what they like. Everybody ain't gotta like the same car just cause you like the Ferrari. Everybody else ain't gotta like the Ferrari right along with you. Let people like what they like and not be judged for it. Sheesh Louise. And then the crazy part about it, these are men, y'all. These are men. Worried about what other people like. Men. Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
let people do what they want to do.
By the time I was 21, I was working at an exotic car dealership, and I was getting a lot of seat time in cars I was talking about. M5s, M4s, Hellcats, V8 AMGs, 911 turbos.
Ooh, y'all don't even know what this is. What's this? What's this, chat? What's this car? Hurry up. What's this car? Hurry up. What's this car? What's this car? Hurry up. Hurry up. Somebody, what's this car? What's this car? Don't just say Aston Martin. What is it?
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin what? What is it? I see some answers. I see some correct answers. I see some correct answers. You're kind of missing something, but I see some correct answers.
Somebody said
It's a
Ferrari.
V12 Vanquish.
ET3s, Maseratis, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, you name it. I specifically remember the point where I was driving a 911 turbo cab, which made about like 540 horsepower to all wheels. I mustered up the courage to finally see what the gas pedal felt like when it touches the floor behind it, where I actually scared the shit out of myself and finally had that point where I realized that much power, especially combined with that much low-end torque, should honestly not be accessible to the average driver.
You see how he see his point of view? So your point of view is a skirt. So your point of view is because you couldn't handle the Porsche at 500 horsepower that nobody else should be able to handle it. Your point of view is a skirt. Like I said, for people who've been having cars at 500 horses, Maybachs, things like that, AMGs, Lamborghinis, Hellcats, that 500 horsepower feel like a Honda to them. They don't want that. Because he doesn't own a 500 horsepower, of course he's not used to it. So when he pressed that gas, it scared him. Of course. He couldn't even push the whole throttle down. He was scared. He thought he was going to get a ticket. You see what I'm saying? So you can't compare yourself to people who are used to that power. You cannot compare yourself to those people. Like, stop it, please. And that's the problem here. People steady want to compare themselves to the next person. If they want 2,000 horses in their car, let them have 2,000 horses in their car. What does that have to do with you? You see how weird these men is these days, y'all? They don't know how to mind their damn business. It's so weird. So weird. Just because he can't handle the power. He feel like nobody should have that power. That's crazy. That's limitations, bro. Can't limit people like that, bro.
I literally had to text my Uncle Lee after I got off work and let him know that he was right. That 300 horsepower was definitely enough for most cars. He just hit me back with a quick yep. Like he was just expecting me to eventually
Where I admire sub 300 horsepower cars and same way I admire, or even envy people who were content with 100 because they need nothing more. I don't think I'll ever be.
Understand what he was trying to tell me, and all it took was a little bit of seat time. Losing traction is scary that first time you do it. It's a new sensation, and you just don't know what to do. And luckily, I had the sense to hold the seat.
Slam it. Oh, damn! I'm trying to read what he said. That's
Scary that first time you do it. It's a new sensation.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but slamming on the brakes is the last thing you want to do. If you're already loose, that means less friction, so it's easier for your wheels to lock up and slide uncontrollably. If you're quick to use your brakes, that's why when you see dark marks, that lead towards broken barriers. I ain't gonna lie. So my thing with horsepower is, I like braking traction. I'm a sick person. I like throwing an M4 and rear wheel drive.
Yo, Jay, yo.
But that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. He don't understand how to control the car when he loses traction, but other people do. Like how you said you like the M4, you like to brake the traction, you like to slam out the sides of the back of the car, you like to skirt around the corner, you like to turn that corner while the tires are burning rubber around it, just like the Hellcat users. But this guy in particular, since he doesn't know how to drive correctly, or he doesn't know how to drive street racing, or he doesn't know how to drive in a fast car, he feels like nobody should. It's a whole different point of view, dog. Just like he said, people like breaking the traction. They want to go around that corner going 80 miles per hour while the tires are skrrr. They want to do that. That's what they want to do. So you can't be mad at them people because they know how to drive and you can't drive your car. He said when he broke traction, he got scared. It wasn't even wet outside. He almost pissed himself. That's what he said. But y'all see the difference in the people? So again, don't judge the people because they like the street race or because they like the race and they like to break the traction and they want to burn their tires. I don't judge them people. They're having fun. They doing what they like to do. Simple. It's pretty simple, y'all. It's pretty simple.
Yo, I'm live. Hold on. Are you live?
Yes.
Fucking loud as shit.
You live right now?
Yes. I've been live for the last 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh, no. I know. I had the lotion on my desk and had your stream up, but I'm asking because I didn't see y'all separated.
Wait.
Well, because Gabe is also live, and we don't want to step on each other's toes. I'm not. Did you have lotion up for his stream too, or?
Jay,
Jamal,
didn't we not just say that this nigga?
We were just saying you were reading this shit. I ain't gonna lie. We were just saying that. You're disgusting. And
Y'all
Jamal said you beat your shit with mayonnaise, though.
Y'all having a fucking...
You just gonna ignore that?
No, yeah, I'm gonna ignore that because y'all having... So on your stream, y'all's having a conversation about what I can possibly be doing in my office?
No. Let's get back to the video, y'all.
Yes, you're way too.
It could be... Yo,
So much information you have to take in and actively think about in order to avoid obstructions and maintain traction while driving at a higher speed. This information is being fed to you via your eyes, the steering wheel, the seat you're sitting in, and the G-forces being exerted on your body. The average human brain can't keep up with all this information beyond a certain speed, which again changes.
That's a lie, bro. That's a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. He keeps saying the average human brain. No, your small brain, your peanut brain, since you only using a certain amount of percentage, obviously it can't. But other people can. Stop doing that to yourself. Like I said, you building limitations on yourself, and then you trying to impose it upon other people. That's what he's doing right now, y'all. He's playing the devil's advocate. Right? So obviously we can build a car that got 50,000 horsepower if we wanted to, right? Obviously, right? Because with God, anything is possible. What he's trying to do is he's trying to limit us from doing what we want to do. Insane. Insane.
Is based on conditions. That's why doing 100 down the interstate in the left lane might be safe, but doing 45 downtown might be stupid. But that experience in the Porsche made me think, though. All these kids on the internet saying 500 horsepower is slow, a GT3 is slow, a Scat Pack is slow, they're probably just like me. They've probably never floated in a car with more than 300 horsepower, and they've probably never driven a car.
Bro, people have so many opinions on things that they've never done, and I hate it. Shut your bitch ass up. You always got something to say. Oh, why didn't you get this when you could have got this? Bitch, you ain't even got feet. You got gout and you lost both. You know what? That's rude. That's like that through a challenging curvy road before. They've only seen people do it on the internet, and because the car isn't moving as fast as a car with 7, 8, 900 horsepower, and their only experiences with these cars is in Forza, they have no real sense of how fast that kind of car is. And when every YouTuber is trying to build a car beyond that kind of power and chasing 4 digits, I see how 700 or 800 horsepower just becomes the standard for what is a decently quick and powerful car. In reality, though, most people, including...
No, 700, 800 is still slow. It'd have to be 1,000 plus. It's literally slow, bro. If you ever been in a Tesla Plaid, you'll know that. And then the more times you get in that car, the more times you drive in that car, the more times you'll see what I'm talking about. Eventually, that what you thought was fast will no longer be fast anymore. It's the same as when they say, oh, humans can't run a mile in less than 10 minutes. Next thing somebody do, oh, humans can't run a mile in less than 6 minutes. Next thing somebody did in 5 minutes, oh, humans can't. It's always limitations upon your brain. You can obviously run the speed of light if you wanted to. Obviously, we move at the speed of light, whether y'all know that or not. But it's up to y'all to realize and open up your brain. Y'all create your own limitations. Sorry limitations at that. Sorry ass limitations. Now, of course, traffic and stuff, you don't want to be flooring it and mess up your car. Of course not, right? So time and place for everything, but we can't just sit here and say we don't think the car should be able to access that much speed. So if you're trying to, let's say if you're using one of those tornado states, right? And you got an open road, a tornado right behind you. You only got 300 horsepower. You're gonna get sucked up automatically. Your car topped out at 150 something. You don't hit 200 on the dash at all. You top that at 150, 300 horses, a tornado is going to tear you up. A Typhoon is going to tear you up. Now, if you, like I said, you don't have to use all the power, but if you had access to the 800 to 1,000 horses, you had that 200 to 220 on the dash, the tornado moving at 180 miles per hour, you're going to outrun that tornado and save your life and your family. It's a point for this stuff. So there's a reason why these cars go as fast as they go. They're not telling you to max it out every time you drive the car. But you need that access to the power to be able to get away and to be able to survive and thrive. That's the point of the cars and machines having it. That's the point. The airplane ain't got to go 800 miles per hour in the air, but they made sure it goes fast enough to get to where it needs to go. So like I said, y'all got to speak for yourselves when y'all talking about this type of stuff. Stop trying to build limitations on people. And again, 500 horsepower is slow, 800 horsepower is slow. It's very slow, y'all. It's extremely slow. Extremely slow. Whether y'all know that or not.
A lot of the owners of these cars cannot handle this kind of power. This is why we see salvage title cars with 800 horsepower as often, if not more often, than we see salvage title cars with 300 horsepower, with 200 horsepower. And some of them will have like not even 1,000 miles on them, proving that they didn't even have that much experience.
So I'm not gonna lie, shit like that just happened. I can't comprehend because I know mistakes happen and sometimes maybe they weren't paying attention. I don't know, but like for me, I would just catch the counter steer and keep going.
No, not when it's black ice. You didn't see, you're not paying attention. When it's black ice, it ain't no catching no counter steer, bro. You're not steering at all. It don't matter which way you turn that car. When it's black ice, you don't see all that snow and ice everywhere, bro. When it's black ice like this, ain't no catching no counter steer, bro. So again, of course, in a weather like this, you're not gonna be driving this car, let alone driving this car going fast. You're not doing that, right? So again, like I told y'all, time and place for everything. It's snowing and stuff. You're not. Even if you do drive it, you're not gonna be going fast with it being icy and snow outside. Like, come on, bro. Come on, y'all. Come on. Come on. So it's not the fact that, oh, I got 800 horses, oh, I got 1,000. It's the fact that, hey, is the conditions proper, right? Is there no traffic? Is there traffic? Are you on that track? Are you on a straight road, country road? Like, it's time and place for everything. Time and place for everything. And that's why they build places like the Autobahn. Because in that country in particular, they're a little bit more smarter. So they're able to give them access to the Autobahn so they can go as fast as they want to. How many accidents y'all ever seen on the Autobahn? Probably damn near none. We don't really see reports about that, but they got access to all their car. So we can't say, oh, in America they shouldn't have over 500, but over there in Germany where they have the Autobahn, they can have 2,000 horses. It's okay. That don't even sound right. It just sounds like the people, the user, the driver, right? That's all it sounds. It sounds like a user error. Some people like him, for example, don't need over 500. That's totally fine. But some people like me and everybody else that wants to drive extra fast, we might need over 500. It is what it is. There's no argument in that. Everybody different.
Like I know if you on R888s in the rain, it's over for you. But at the same time, if you catch it, are you gonna be saved? Like, I don't know. I'm so on my wise man knows that he does not know everything vibe, but it'd be like, damn, I feel like it's simple, you know? I don't know.
That kind of car, which is probably why they crash trying to drive a car that hard. This is why usually when people say a car with 400 horsepower is slow, it's normally someone who's never put their foot to the floor in something with more than 300 horsepower, or it's someone who actually owns and races cars with upwards of 800 horsepower.
And you don't put your foot to the floor, that's already a rookie mistake. So I'm hearing it coming out of your own mouth. If you in a car over 400 horsepower, everybody knows you don't just put your foot to the floor. It's going to make the car burn out. You don't do that. You got to gradually get up to the speed. You don't just put your foot to the floor. That's how you end up running into a pole or something. Mustang users, you never just put your foot to the floor ever. Even if you're in a race, you at least get that 1 second and then you go.
often upwards of 1,000 horsepower, who have the necessary driving experience, who have the necessary reflexes for such a car, and at this point are just desensitized to anything slower than that, which, fair enough. I think that's all.
That's what I'm talking about. People who are desensitized, right? And it's not even necessarily desensitized. People who already passed those limits and are at a further limit. That's like some people swimming in the ocean and some people can't swim in the ocean. They're not ready for the tides. They're not ready for the ocean current. They're not ready for any of that. They got to go in a little pool, the kiddie pool. Put them in the kiddie pool. It's different people out here, y'all. Everybody not the same. I don't know why y'all think everybody's the same. And then why y'all want to limit people to being the same. This is just ridiculous. You don't want people to be their best selves? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, y'all.
Honestly just doing a disservice to yourself, though, because not being able to enjoy a 150 horsepower car, a 200 horsepower car, is really just as a car.
I like this guy. Who is him? Who is he? Let's drive together, brother. You probably could drive. I ain't gonna lie.
Car guy just being able to enjoy less cars now. You're limiting the breadth of cars that you can actually enjoy as a car guy, which is honestly just sad. But it's usually one of those two. It's never in between. I never hear supercar guys saying 400 horsepower is slow. I never hear guys who own 400 horsepower cars saying 400 horsepower is slow. The only person who I know who I'll let tell me 400 horsepower is slow is one of my repeat clients who has literally won Texas 2K before. He's in a new 1,000 horsepower GTR or Huracan every month and currently owns a 2,000 horsepower GTR. Other than people who actually race these kinds of cars without totaling them, I seriously don't think most people have what it takes to drive cars at full tilt that possess a power to weight ratio beyond a certain level. In the state of South Australia, in Australia obviously, I had to make that clear before the Europeans came in the chat like, do Americans even know where that is? But in South Australia, you have to get a U-Class license that allows you to drive UHPVs or ultra high powered vehicles. This means that if a car exceeds a power to weight ratio of 276 kilowatts or 376 horsepower per metric ton or 2,205 pounds, then you need a U-Class license to drive it. This essentially means you need to at least have the C-Class license, which is the basic license needed to drive a car like our D-Class license here in the States. Then take their online course that includes basic driver education that you should probably be aware of in high performance driving situations in order to obtain a license that allows you to drive a car that can put down a rounded up 0.17 horsepower per pound of weight. Now, before y'all get up in arms, it's actually kind of hard to reach this limit. Not as many cars and not as many owners as it may sound like are going to be affected. For reference, if we take a G80 M3 Competition X Drive and divide its 510 horsepower by its slightly obese 3,990 pounds of weight, you still end up with a car that makes just over 0.13 horsepower per pound, which is still below the legal limit for what qualifies as a UHPV in Australia. Let's do another exercise. If we take a Charger that has 707 horsepower and divide that by like 4,500 pounds that it weighs, BBW big back ass car, even though it has 200 more horsepower.
You said what? Was that the video? The video has extra audio in the background.
4,500 pounds that it weighs, BBW big back ass car. Even though it has 200 more horsepower, it still falls just below that limit at 0.15 horsepower per pound. Now, if you take something like a C8 Z06, which has similar horsepower to a Hellcat, but is also significantly lighter, and do the math, you're outside of that limit, which means you would have to get the U-Class license.
For a C8 Corvette, that's crazy.
Good Lord, I gotta take these off. I cannot wear this with my contacts in my eyes as well. I got a headache now. Having driven a C7 Z06 before, which also falls outside of that limit, I absolutely think you need a special license to drive that car. That's one of those cars that's just waiting on you to feel too confident. It wants you to die. I will not drive a C7 Z06 for the foreseeable future, even for free. If you give me one, I'll trade it in for the cleanest E92 M3 I can find. Even when you consider that the Challenger Hellcat weighs a bit less than the Charger Hellcat that just barely fell inside the weight limit but makes the same power, you would then need the U-Class license to drive the Challenger Hellcat but not the Charger Hellcat. So when you consider these numbers and think about cars like a 296 GTB, a Revuelto, a Dodici Cylindri, it's not even a question. Just go get the license. Those are the cars that they were targeting with this kind of legislation anyways. While the Australian government can be criticized about a lot of things when it comes to its citizens' autonomy, this is a rare Australian W. If anything, I think they need to be more stringent. I think they should lower that power to weight ratio to like 0.1 horsepower per pound, which would include cars like M3s, Scat Packs, Mustang GTs, the usual.
Man, fuck a Scat Pack. What's a Scat Pack gonna do? A one-wheel peel? Fuck Scat Packs. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm just kidding. Respect all builds. I'm just joking.
Suspects. Then make the age requirement like 20. Then make people take a one-day HPDE-esque course that would also include lane discipline on the interstate. Make it through the government, which would probably make it a bit of a headache, but would hopefully get the price of an HPDE course down to below $1,000. And that's something I would honestly happily take to drive high-performance vehicles on the road. I know there's probably going to be a group of commenters that are probably like, you're just mad that young teenagers are driving cooler.
I mean, that'll help, though. That'll help stop people from crashing and things like that. As long as there's no limitations. If you got the possibility to get it, then that's fine. But just saying that nobody needs it is crazy. Insane. Because it be done one moments, like I told y'all, in one moments. When you finally need the extra power and then you ain't got it.
Cars and you can't afford it. No, that's not what I said. Because if I see a teenager driving an F-350 dually or a 911 Carrera 4S or something, then hey, more power to you. The difference being it's very hard to lose traction at a high speed in a vehicle that either weighs 6,000 pounds or has less than 400 horsepower and puts the power down to all four wheels. It's also easier to stop in something like a 911 than a Hellcat. Obviously, I'm a car guy. I like driving in a fast, spirited fashion as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But I was 18 with a V8 sports car once. I had friends who were also in that age range with sports cars, and I know how we were driving. We literally had one friend who could not keep a car longer than a year. Not because he was bored with his current car, not because he needed a new car for practical reasons, but because he could not stop totaling cars. And
Can't relate. None of my friends are like that.
Yeah, me neither. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? His perspective, y'all. I ain't got no friends that total cars. None of that. It's his perspective. And they all drive fast. It's his perspective of what he experienced in life. How he feels on the inside is what he's spitting out. That's what's going on right now. That's exactly what's going on right now. So if I was to put him in a 700 horsepower car, he'd probably like, man, this is so fast, man. Oh man, I wouldn't even want to buy this. It got too much for me. That's his mind state, right? That's his mind state. And that's where we at with it. So like, it's been like this for a long time. This is like when they say you're not fighting the people, you're not fighting flesh and blood, but you fighting paradigms. That's the paradigm in his head. Paradigm in his head, what his brain thinks, how his body feels when he's in a car that's over 500 horsepower. He started to act like a girl, obviously. So because of his emotions, he decided to make a video about it. This is how it works, y'all. It's the same as anybody else who feels some type of way about a situation and they come online and they do a video about it. They gotta, oh guys, guess what happened today? And you see, that's because they were working off their emotions. So he feels like and again, I'm telling y'all, these are supposed to be men though. They talking about their feelings and how they feel.
so these cars were making less than 200 horsepower. The only reason bro has ever gotten a new car is because he totaled the last one. I don't even know how he's still insured. And you think it's a good idea for a guy like that to be legally allowed to buy a car that puts 600 horsepower to the rear wheel? Also, if the cops catch you at a takeover, running from the cops, or you cause an accident that does a significant amount of damage, you should get this license revoked and you have to go back and take the course again. I don't think I quite mentioned how much fun you can actually have in a slow car either. I drove a C8 Corvette Stingray and a Honda S2000 in the same 7-day period recently, and the Honda was leaps and bounds more fun than the C8.
Well, because it's manual and it's well, that's pretty much it.
And because it's not as low, and because if you mess up something, it's not as expensive to fix. So when he was in that Corvette, trust me, he wasn't driving the Corvette to its full extent. He wasn't about to pay for those tires, pay for the brakes, pay for the rotors, pay for any type of gaskets to get broken in. So of course you couldn't have fun because it wasn't your car. But if it was your car, you had 10 Corvettes, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what it is. You'd be like, you know what? You'll tear it up because it wouldn't be no reason not to. So you see how it's the limitations, y'all. It's the people and their own limitations. It's limitations, y'all. How long it's gonna take to get that car fixed? If it did break something, the Honda, you can take it to the shop. They're gonna fix it by the day. You see what I'm saying, y'all? It's the limitations. That's fear to me. That's fear.
Genuinely cannot fathom wanting a C8 over an S2000 if I can also have a daily driver. Smaller, lower, lighter cars allow you to get a better fuel for your input.
Yeah, C8 Corvette or S2000. I personally hate the C8 Stingray, but if we're talking like Z06 or ZR1, that's a different ball game. So I wouldn't even compare the two. But
same. ZR1X, same.
Definitely Definitely S2K, that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Fuck a sticker.
Where, you know, when you're driving a rear-wheel drive car through a corner and, like, if you stay in the gas, it compresses your suspension, keeps your suspension stiff, and kind of, like, just pushes your nose through the corner a little bit. It was to the point where I lit up halfway through a winding corner, and the nose just dipped out off in the other direction. Relative to the S2K, you don't really get that much of a feeling in the front end of the C8 Stingray. And for a car that's mid-engine and rear-wheel drive, the nose felt kind of soft, and you don't get too much feedback from your inputs. At least not as much as the S2K. And
The way that he's speaking, I don't know how to break shit down like this. I just be driving, bro. I gotta learn how to do that, but I just be driving.
It's dangerous for a first-time sports car owner because if you don't know what your car is doing under stress like that, you won't know what you need to do when you actually need to get a grip and keep yourself out of a barrier. This is the same reason why someone might enjoy a Cayman over a 911 or an Integra over an NSX, and why most people would be better off with the slower but more engaging, more fun option. Not to mention you can actually put your foot to the floor in cars like this and use the car to its full potential on public roads while still being aware of your surroundings. And in doing this in a slower car, you're only pushing the limits of your spatial awareness and your reflexes. You're not going outside of your abilities. And I'm not even trying to be a dictator or anything. I don't even think this will stop anyone who is genuinely skilled and responsible enough to drive these kinds of cars from driving these kinds of cars. If anything, it'll keep the unskilled drivers in cars that are within their means of control. It would encourage car enthusiasts to want to become better, more knowledgeable drivers. And it wouldn't even prevent ownership of cars like M340is, C43s, RT Chargers, and certainly not BRZs, Honda S2000s, or Civic Type Rs for anyone. But I think this will make car meets safer, it will make the interstate safer, and the public perception of car guys who like...
Oh my God, I think that was a 992 Turbo S.
I think this will make car meets safer, it will make the interstate safer.
No, that is not that is a fucking boxer. My dumb ass.
And the public perception of car guys who like to drive in a spirited fashion would be a more respectable one. This is probably going to be a short video because it's kind of hard to explain this concept to someone whose only knowledge of big power is from Forza and GTA 5. Not to mention when you crash in those games, it's not a big deal. Hitting curbs, street signs, and lampposts at 120 are inconsequential. In real life, that kind of incident will slice your car in half. People are going to...
Damn, was that an Enzo?
20 are inconsequential. In real life, that kind of incident will slice your...
Nigga, is that real? That happened? Why would you put them bullshit ass rims on a Ferrari Enzo? The fuck? This has got to be a replica, but it's not because look at how accurate the window is.
Car in half. People are going to drive past the incident, see a bunch of shrapnel and plastic shreds on the ground and be like, damn, that used to be a car? I think the main takeaway I want y'all to have is to just respect the vehicle and the amount of power you have.
Always.
If you're really curious, go find a road that cuts through a field in the middle of nowhere or find an empty parking lot and learn what losing traction feels like. It's a weird feeling the first time. You're not going to know what to do. Maybe take a friend who actually is experienced in like drifting and doing burnouts and stuff like that. But the more you lose traction in a low risk environment, the more comfortable you'll be when your car breaks loose. The more in control you'll feel when it happens. The more you'll be able to feel.
Now, this level I'm scared of. I in my M4, I don't know about this. The S14, you know that. You know. But the M4, I'm scared. And because it's an automatic, it's so unpredictable. And it's scary. All right? It's scary. But in a manual, it's different because you have more control. Clutch in, e-brake. You know,
about to happen and prevent it. Non-automotive media and driver safety courses like to call losing traction losing control, but in reality, it's just losing traction. Control is a state of mind. If you have enough experience from losing traction in that low-risk environment, when you lose traction in a high-risk environment, you'll know what to do and how to properly control your vehicle.
See what I'm saying? You don't want to slide around the corner. That shit fun. It's so fun sliding around the corner, bro, when you know what you're doing. So I agree, if you don't know what you're doing, you gotta go practice. But after you practice, you can have fun with it, bro. It ain't nothing wrong with it.
That low risk
And of course, nobody else on the road. It's just one person. Like, not putting nobody else's life in danger.
environment. When you lose traction in a high risk environment, you'll know what to do and how to properly control.
That's fun. Love sliding around corners.
Your vehicle to maintain safety. This is how we see guys like Shafe can do things in other people's cars and not wreck them. This is how Formula Drift exists. This is how in more conventional motorsports formats, people lose traction all the time, yet they don't spin out. Even in regular driving conditions, it'll just help you out. Few things piss me off more than people who drive super slow with their hazards on when it's pissing down rain. Like, motherfucker, turn your wipers on and drive. Your brake lights...
No, because sometimes you can't see.
Yeah, sometimes they can't see. Sometimes they don't have new tires. So if they go above a certain amount per hour, their car going hydroplane. So you can't tell them to drive faster when it's raining, bro. See now you being stupid. First you started off good. Now he being stupid. And you see what I'm talking about, y'all? How people they speaking off of their emotions not facts and logic. He going off of his emotions. He's saying, "Oh, it's raining outside. Y'all can drive faster than that." I mean, maybe they can't. Maybe they can't. That's insane. Somebody grumbling in that car, bro. She can't even see where she going, bro. She just trying to make it home, dog.
Let them do their thing, bro. And then some people have ball tires, they got hydroplane. Let them.
See, I just said that. And you see why his argument through the whole video don't make no sense. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, y'all? So he mad at the people driving slow in the rain, trying to save their life. But then want to talk about the people who want to drive fast. Over 500 horses. You see what I'm saying? That's so emotional. He went from one side to the next scale. He went from one pendulum to the next. He went from the left to the right, to the right to the left. Instead of just stating facts. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. You gotta watch out for these people, man. He one of them type of people, bro. You be at the dealership like, man, I'm finna go buy that Lambo. Man, you know you ain't gotta get the Lambo, bro. You know it's about $400,000, man. Maybe you should get something else like a Mercedes. It's only $100,000. You can get something else. You shouldn't get that Lambo. He one of them type of people. That's the people you do not hang around. Those are the people who build limitations to your life. You gonna get a Bugatti now, he trying to talk you down. Man, you know, man, that Bugatti, man, you ain't even gonna be able to drive that. You can't really drive it. You know, got that, man, that's gonna be too much gas. Just making up all these different kind of excuses for what he wants you to do with your money. That's crazy, ain't it, y'all? Watch out for these people, man. Watch out. And then you live your whole life and don't never get to experience the Bugatti. You had the money to buy it and everything, but you let somebody talk you out of it. Don't let them people do that to y'all, bro. Everybody has to live their life. If these people want to get a fast car and they want to drive fast, let them do what they want to do, bro. For real, for real.
Are designed to be visible through the rain. If you have all-season tires, they're literally designed for conditions like this. Everyone's so scared of losing traction, but if you know what losing traction feels like before you end up in a situation like this, it shouldn't be an issue. I drive like I would on a drive day when it's pissing down rain.
Not a good idea because you can also understeer, and understeer is scary as fuck.
Know why? Because my all-season tires are designed to channel water away from the contact patch. When I see a puddle, I already know about the hydroplane. I know what my vehicle does.
Yeah, fresh tire for sure, you good.
When the hydroplanes, and so just out of
Look, people said bad advice. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying, bro. He's just speaking off his emotions. I don't know why men want to be heard so bad. It's kind of getting weird. It's pretty weird. Pretty weird, man. Pretty weird. But I get it. His channel, man. He gotta get the fans, and he need the revenue. He needs y'all to comment on the channel to say what y'all gotta say to bring more attraction to the channel. I get it. Whatever. All this business stuff that they gotta do just to make sure their channel survives and things like that. So it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is, man. You know, in this today's age, man, everybody want clout, everybody want attention. You know, honestly, mind your damn business, nigga. If the 18-year-old want to go get him a Lambo, you know what I'm saying, Revolto, and he want 1,000 horses in it, so be it. Mind your business. The hell, duh. Like, I'm pretty sure God with him while he in that Lambo. If God want to say, all right, now we're going to crash to this wall, then y'all going to crash to the wall. If God want to say, hey, I'm going to make sure you survive while you got this Lambo, make sure you blessed in this Lambo, then so be it. The judgmental people out here, y'all. I can't believe I sat here and watched this crap.
habit, I counteract it so I can drive the same speed that I would have been driving if it were dry and still be in complete control. Right, sometimes that requires that I give it a little bit more power.
It's bad advice for people who can't drive. So he can't say that to people who can't drive. But it's not, he's not wrong.
Or let it slide and be confident in the fact that I know what to do when it slides. Sometimes that means that I just need to steer in the opposite direction.
But also, hydroplaning is not just being wet. It's literally lifting your tires off of the ground, so you do not have any control. It's completely different, actually. So that's actually terrible advice.
Always means I need to pay the attention. Too many of y'all are on y'all's phone, looking around, enjoying the scenery, when you need to be aware of what's coming up.
See? That's more important things to talk about, right? Get off y'all phones. That's more important. All right? That's more important, right?
100 feet ahead before you even get there. And the faster you're driving, the further out you need to be aware, and the wider the cone of view becomes of which you need to be aware of. Yes, this can be a mentally tough task to deal with, which is why I said the average driver is not capable of driving these fast cars at full tilt. Not because you're incapable of putting your foot to the floor, not because you're incapable of turning the wheel, but because a lot of people are physically incapable of the reflexes that it takes to react to obstructions, other drivers, and road conditions in a manner that's timely enough to keep you alive and keep your car not totaled. That's why I think a lot of people underestimate the athleticism of race car drivers, especially Formula One, because they think that just because the car goes fast that they can also handle the car going that fast. No, these people are prodigies. In the same way that being tall will make you a better basketball player, better spatial awareness, faster reflexes, and superior mental endurance will make you a more talented driver. And most people are not blessed with those kinds of skills from a young age, and most people don't end up developing those skills to the level that is needed to drive cars with 800, 900, 1,000 horsepower. These principles can be applied whether you're hydroplaning in the rain, drifting a mountain road, trying to show everyone how cool you are when you're pulling out of cars and coffee because the parents didn't give you enough attention.
Oh, that nigga is knocked out. That's just that he's like this. That shit almost made me fall asleep. Holy shit.
He ain't sleep.
As
He's
a
sitting
child,
back.
all that. The thing is, it becomes clearer and clearer that not everyone has what it takes to control a vehicle in these kinds of situations. And the younger you are, the less likely you are to have that experience.
Oh my
like
God,
I
that's
said
a wire
earlier,
up.
I think
What
we
the
could all
fuck?
just bear to respect how
Oh
much
my
power our
God.
4,000-pound death machines have a little bit more, and understand the fact that the gas pedal is not just a button that makes you move forward in a straight line in a controlled fashion. The craziest part of me.
Alright, don't restart this goddamn video.
All right. But we get it. People need more experience with driving in different type of weather conditions. And honestly, they should take these type of tests regardless if you in a supercar, a hypercar, anything. If you in a car in general, you should take it should be a track. Just like when you go do the Porsche experience that's in Atlanta, it should be a track to where they take you through when it's raining and the car might hydroplane this way and they tell you how to do what to do and how to do it if you go this way or if this happens and that happens. They should do that. I agree with that. Yes. But there's some people, there's 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds that can drive cars better than half of us. Right? So we can't say it's by age, we can't say it's by experience, it's none of that. It's the person, the user of the car, it's the person entitled to the car, the person that's driving the car. It's their mindset, it's their experience, it's their performance. That's all it is, right? So we can't put no age to it. I'm pretty sure there's some 20-year-olds that can drive better than all of us. I'm pretty sure, right? We're working with God here, so with God, anything is possible. An 8-year-old probably can get in the car and drive better than half of us, right? So that's not, you feel what I'm saying? But I do feel him on the fact that we do need some places where before you even take your regular driver's test, that you go through some more training, right? More than just backing up and parallel parking and making sure you turn your signals on. Cause that's the most you get. They're not gonna tell you. And also they get you to go fast forward, just stop by the cone and things like that. Sometimes in some certain states, but you're not going through the gravel and you're not going through water and going through a hill with a mountain and bumps and you know what I mean. They should put more into it for sure. See y'all in the next one. We out, man. Peace.